Hey friends, I'm Amy, and today we're making a classic stuffed pork loin, complete with a cheesy mushroom filling and some seasoned roasted sweet potatoes on the side. Now, stuffed pork loin is one of those things that makes you look like you have a personal chef, because it looks really complicated to make. It's one of those elegant sort of dishes that kind of makes you feel just a little bougie, I guess. It's great for holidays or special occasions, but it's even better for a lazy Sunday roast. So since this pork loin isn't going to stuff itself, let's get cooking. We'll start with our choppy prep first, and okay, maybe the first one's not really choppy prep, but we need to shred or grate a 4-ounce block of Gruyere cheese. Now, if you can't get Gruyere or any of the closer substitutes like Emmental or Jarlsberg, you can do half Swiss and half white cheddar to get a somewhat similar flavor going on. When the cheese is shredded up, set that to the side. Next, the elephant in the room. Charlie says he's sorry he got excited when we were playing and scratched his mom. So now, our first true choppy prep. We need minced garlic, about 6 cloves worth, which is about 2 tablespoons. I have some gigantic garlic cloves, so I'm using 3, and that amount worked great for this. Set the minced garlic to the side too, and now comes what could arguably be the most important filling ingredient, the mushrooms. We need 16 ounces of mushrooms, but what kind of mushrooms is entirely up to you. I'm using Baby Bellas, but you can use white buttons, creminis, full gargantuan portobellos, oysters, any kind of mushrooms you like, or even a combination of them. Wash them well to make sure that any remaining dirt doesn't end up in our filling, because that's a crunch that none of us want. Then dice these up nice and small. I mean, we don't need to go the whole way to like a minced mushroom situation, but we also don't want big chunks of mushroom in the filling. At this point, we could be done with the choppy prep, or you could also mince up a shallot or two. Now to the stove, and let's get our filling together. In a large skillet, heat about 2 tablespoons of oil until it's nice and shimmery. If you're using shallots, add them in and saute them for a few minutes till they get soft and turn a light golden. If not, go straight to the garlic and saute this, stirring constantly for about 30 seconds. Then dump in all of our diced up mushrooms and season everything with a half teaspoon of dried thyme, a large pinch or 2 of salt, and some black pepper to taste. If you didn't use the shallots, you can also add some onion powder in here for flavor. Stir everything up well so the seasonings are evenly distributed and that garlic isn't sitting on the bottom of the skillet getting burnt. Cook the mushrooms, stirring pretty often until they're completely cooked through and the liquid that they release is almost gone. You'll notice that the mushrooms will also shrink pretty substantially as they cook, which is exactly what we want. When the mushrooms are fully cooked, scrape them into a medium-sized bowl and set them to the side to cool for just a couple of minutes. At this point, preheat the oven to 350 degrees and place one rack toward the bottom and one higher up in the oven. Also, it can be helpful to line your roasting pan with foil to catch the drippings, because we're going to want those later. Now for the pork loin, and we're going to butterfly it, which is probably the most complicated part of this whole thing. You want a 4-pound boneless pork loin, and we're going to start cutting just at the side of the fat cap, which is this white layer of fat that will run either partially or even the whole way along one side of the pork loin. Make a cut just under the cap and cut into the meat about an inch. Then pull the meat up and keep slowly cutting an inch or 2 at a time, doing your best to keep the top section you're holding roughly similar in thickness as you work your way around. Just keep moving through the meat and unrolling it as you go, doing your best not to make any holes in the outer section for our filling to leak out. When you're done, you should have a roughly flat slab of pork loin like this. If you notice areas that are much thicker than the others, you can use a meat mallet to kind of even out the thickness a bit. Make sure to keep in mind though which side of the roast was the inside of the meat. I faced mine to my right, so I didn't forget. Now it's time to stuff, which is actually more like spreading frosting than stuffing a roast. Spread 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard on the pork with a brush like this one or a knife, just so it's spread out evenly all over the pork. Take the bowl of cooked mushrooms we set aside earlier and stir in the 4 ounces of Gruyere cheese that we shredded. Now take that cheesy mushroom mixture and dump all of it onto our pork loin. Use a spatula to smooth it out into a roughly even layer, Just like you're frosting a cake or like you're pressing granola bars into a pan. Leave a little bit of space around the edges, maybe like a ½ inch or so. Now, roll this monster back up, but make sure it rolls up how you cut it. We want the side that was the inside of the pork to be the inside again, so that the fat cap is still on the outside of the roast. The filling may try to come out, especially on the long open side. Just kind of stuff it back in there as you roll it. To keep this together, tie it with some kitchen twine every 1 to 1.5 inches so it doesn't unroll itself again as it cooks. You want the twine tight enough that it's going to hold the roast together, but not tight enough that the string actually cuts into the meat. Then season the outside of the pork with salt and pepper and maybe some garlic powder if you want some additional garlic flavor, and then carefully place that stuffed pork loin into our prepared roaster pan. Bake this at 350 until it reaches 140 degrees in the center, which was about 1 hour and 15 minutes for me, but your mileage may vary depending on your oven. While that pork's in the oven, let's get our sweet potatoes going. This dish is ultra simple, but it's so flavorful and so delicious. We need about 2 pounds of sweet potato, which could be anywhere from 3 to 6 of them, depending on their size. Peel the potatoes, give them a good scrub so they're nice and clean, and dry them with a paper towel or like a clean kitchen towel. Then dice them up into bite-sized pieces. Really, they can be whatever size you prefer, but the larger the pieces, the longer they're going to take to cook. So I went with bite size on the smaller side. Put all those diced sweet potatoes into a large bowl and pour in about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. For seasonings, start with a ½ teaspoon each of garlic powder, smoked paprika, salt, and black pepper. Then toss everything around so that the sweet potato is completely coated with the oil and the seasonings. If the potatoes look a little dry, you can add in a little bit more oil, and you can also add additional seasonings if you want. This is a really, really forgiving dish. Line a baking sheet with parchment paper and spread the potatoes on the baking sheet in a single layer. Pop these in the oven above the pork and roast them for about 45 to 50 minutes or until those potatoes are cooked through and tender. When the pork is at the correct temp, pull it out of the oven and carefully place it on a cutting board. Tent the meat with foil and allow it to rest for at least 10 to 15 minutes before cutting into it. While the pork is resting, let's whip up our gravy. In a small to medium skillet or saucepan, melt 4 tablespoons or a ½ stick of butter until it's bubbly. Whisk in a 1/4 cup of flour and cook this, stirring constantly for about 2 minutes just to cook out that raw flour taste. Now pour in a 1/4 cup of the drippings from the roaster pan if you have that much, although if you have just a little less than that, it's okay, this will still be awesome. Stir the drippings into the butter and flour mixture and then add in 1 3/4 cup of chicken stock or broth in small increments at a time and stir until the gravy is smooth after each addition. This makes it so our gravy is nice and smooth and is less likely to be lumpy. Season with a decent amount of pepper and then salt to taste, which can vary depending on the salt level in the drippings. You can also add additional garlic or onion powder if you like. Stir everything up one last time and let this simmer for about 1 minute, maybe 2, until you're happy with the gravy consistency. Then pull the gravy off the heat so it doesn't keep thickening. These potatoes also came out while the pork was resting, and look at those beautiful seasoned roasted sweet potatoes. They're nice and tender with a little bit of crispy. If you want more crispy, just pop them back in the oven for another 5 minutes or so and they'll continue to crisp up. When the pork has rested at least 10 to 15 minutes, cut off the twine and slice into this monster. Look at that filling. How cool is that? Okay, so it might try to leak out as you slice it. I just use a spoon to just plop it back in there on the plate. And wow, even after resting, this pork is still so juicy. I'm not complaining though, this is perfect. I served some steamed broccoli on the side with a little Parmesan on top. Drizzle some of that savory gravy on the pork and dig in. Now this is comfort food, like what comfort food is supposed to be. When you slice the rolled pork loin, you end up with these beautiful spiral stuffed pork chops, since the loin is what pork chops are made from. And I don't know about you, but I love a good pork chop. The garlic and paprika seasoned sweet potatoes, they go beautifully with the mushroom, garlic, and cheese stuffed pork. Broccoli goes with pretty much anything except ice cream and maybe pineapple, and it rounds out this meal with a nice green non-starchy veggie. Plus, how pretty is that plate? It's like being back at the family restaurant in the town I grew up in, rest in peace, Clearview Diner. Or maybe like hanging out at Grandma's house, eating dinner at a TV tray, watching a Western with Grandpa. The filling is savory and cheesy. The potatoes add that lovely sweet yet savory flavor. This is absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, maybe leave me a comment or share this with friends if you're enjoying making these wonderful recipes with me. It helps to grow my channel, and I really love reading and responding to comments. Come and visit on Wednesdays because we're making all of our favorite restaurant, fast food, takeout foods at home. They are turning out so much better than the restaurants, and I have some fabulous ones coming up. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here next Sunday for some more comforting, cozy home cooking. Bye!